St. Louis was ranked within the top 10 hottest predicted markets of 2025. So we're seeing a lot of activity this year, and it is expected to continue throughout 2025. So it's going to be a busy year. Lots of movement in the market that you want to know about, whether you're a buyer or you're a seller this year. So if you're in St. Louis and you're wondering how's the market doing these days, we're going to address that in this video. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jacob.
I'm Kelly. Yeah, so that is probably one of the most asked questions that we get as professional realtors is, how's the market? And it's funny because the answer to that question in my market is probably very different than the answer to that question in some other markets.
Yeah, it really depends. It also depends on, are you asking as a buyer, as a seller, or as both? Because you got to look at it from both points of view to really get a full grasp of how the market's performing right now.
So to answer that question, if we're going to go back to last year, I would say the end of the third quarter and most of the fourth quarter of 2024, we saw for the first time a slowdown in the market. And when that happens, people started to panic saying, uh-oh, the real estate market is crashing. The market wasn't crashing. So what happened was, historically, the real estate market does slow down in the year where there's a presidential election. And this is not a political statement. It's just a fact. Doesn't matter who's in office, who comes in office, what's going on with the election. The market just pauses and slows down when there's a presidential election. It was just kind of jarring this year because the market had been so insane for the previous 4 years.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I don't think it's any bad indicator when the market slows down, because at least for us, with a lot of our clients around the time of the election, a lot of people were just taking a break to hold on for a little bit and see what happens depending on the results of the election.
So the second part of that also is we were going into a holiday. You know, the holiday time from Thanksgiving until the new year is also a time of slowdown, though it wasn't as dramatic the previous few years as it was in 2024. So we did see a slowdown in the market. We saw quite a few people just take their house off the market. And to Jacob's point, they kind of took a pause to regroup and decide what they were going to do with their homes. Or we saw the days on market increase. And when we see the days on markets increase, what also happens with that is we will see the prices decrease. So actually, contrary to what it sounds like, if I were buying a house, I would absolutely have tried to buy something in that time frame to see if I could get a good deal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because now what we're seeing as we head into spring of 2025, this market is blazing hot. And that is in direct comparison to what's happening with our weather. We have had extremely poor weather in an extremely good market, which is quite shocking because typically when we have bad weather here, we will see a slowdown in the market. We have not seen that at all.
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild combination this year, starting off 2025. And every year, it's almost like we see a switch flip coming out of the holidays to January 1st. And when people are out of the holiday season, they're ready to go. And so this winter has been extremely cold, extremely snowy here in St. Louis compared to what we're used to. And yet the real estate market is crazy right now. By the way, if a move is on the horizon for you this year, get in touch with us. We would love to strategize and plan that out for you. If you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, or both, get in touch. We are practicing realtors. Call us, email us, text us, whatever works for you.
We're happy to help.
Absolutely.
People ask, now that we've seen such a dramatic and quick recovery from what we saw in the end of 2024, at least in our market here in the St. Louis metro area, people's questions are like, well, what's the impact of the rates? Because the rates are still hovering high sixes, low sevens. The rates have had very little impact because people are understanding that when the rates are high, there's a little bit less competition and the prices can be a little bit better. So with that being said, a house that might have 5 offers 2 years ago when the rates were a little bit lower might have had 10. So you still could potentially get a little bit of a better deal. And one thing that's so important to remember is if you're renting, your interest rate's 100%, and rates are renegotiable and your purchase price is not. So if rates go down, you can always renegotiate or refinance your loan.
And so if you're curious about how that renegotiation works, we're going to take a look and see what Stuart has to say, who is our mortgage banker that helps with all of our clients. So I'm here with Stuart, our mortgage banker. So, Stuart, how are rates looking these days? If someone is in the market to buy a house, what would you say to them this year?
All right. So the biggest misconception that people say, and this is a big challenge, is they say, you know what? I'm going to wait till the interest rates drop. And when they drop, I'll be able to afford the house better and I'm going to go and buy that house. This is a big mistake because what's going to happen is when those interest rates drop, guess what? Everybody's going to come out. They're going to want to buy their homes. And all of a sudden you have a huge amount of competition. It's going to jack up the prices even higher to where they are today. And you're going to be in a situation where you're in a bidding war. You may not even get the house. The smartest thing to do is to buy the house now at the higher interest rate, refinance for free later on with a bagel loan. You'll get the house, you get the right price, you'll be way ahead of the game. So be smart. It may cost a little bit for the short term, but you'll be able to get the house of your dreams in the right timetable.
So then how does that work? Let's say someone buys a house right now and then let's say, a few months from now rates drop 0.5%. Is there a certain time frame with that if they wanted to renegotiate further down the line? How does that work?
Well, usually when the rates drop, if you're our customer, we actually contact you. So we'll be in a situation where we monitor those rates for you. It's not your job every day to watch the financial markets and see what's going on. We'll watch it for you. Now, if you borrow more than $200,000, which most people do, then you won't have any closing costs with us. No title fees, no lender fees, nothing. That's really important because if you're only going to save 0.25%, which is let's say $100 on the payment, you're going to be in a situation where, hey, it's going to cost me $3,000 to refinance.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I'm only saving $100. That's a 30-month recoupment period. That's a very long time to recoup the costs. With the bagel loan, there's no closing costs. So you immediately recognize the savings. You go ahead and refinance it at that point. Day one, you're saving $100 a month. So we monitor it for you if you're a customer of ours. And there's no closing costs. You'll get the benefit right away. Now, you can do this perpetually throughout the entire process. Your game plan may be, hey, I'll buy the house, I'll pay the higher interest rate, I'll refinance for free, but then when interest rates drop, I can convert my loan from a 30-year to a 20-year or maybe even a 15-year and get it paid quicker for the same payment. So you got to be smart. You got to think about the future. You got to think about where you want to be 10 years from now. Don't think about today, just today. You'll have the house of your dreams. It'll continue to appreciate, and before you know it, it'll be paid off.
And that's a great way of doing it. I think it's a smart way of doing it too, especially, get the house now and then renegotiate in the future. And I love that you guys are so proactive about letting your clients know when the rates drop and it's a good time to renegotiate.
Yeah, and that's what I would do. Buy the house now, especially during the winter season or you're going towards spring. There's less offers out there. There's less competition. Sellers are more eager to sell it right now because of the fact there's not that many buyers. Buy the house now. And like I said, pay a little bit more, but it's short term. These rates aren't going to sit around forever. It's short term. You'll be ahead of the game, maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months. And you've got a great real estate group to be able to watch out for you. They'll get you the house quicker. So be smart, do it now, refinance later.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So the other thing that has a direct impact on the real estate market is supply and demand. And in our area, we are a little bit different than what we're seeing in the United States nationally, is that we are still in what we would consider to be a seller's market where the supply is less than the demand. So personally, and from our team, Gateway Realty Group, we have seen quite a bit of activity where we are having to go over list price and start making or giving up contingencies in other areas. So this is something that we haven't seen since the summer of last year. Because we're seeing it so quickly right now, we expect that trend to continue through the summer. It has been really crazy out there. And if you do a search of the St. Louis metropolitan real estate market, what you will find is consistently we are popping up on all the lists of the most affordable, the most desirable, or the hottest real estate market in the nation. So it's extremely competitive in our area. Another reason, when you are in a competitive market, this is just another reason why it is so critical that you have a very seasoned professional realtor in your corner. You do not want to be out there unrepresented if you are in competition to get a home. And if you're a seller trying to sell your home and you want the most exposure and the best chance to get the most money for your house, it's going to be with the direction of a professional realtor. People think they can do this themselves, and it is absolutely not for the faint of heart. And you probably are not going to come out on top. I have a personal story about that. So I have a friend and she was considering selling her house herself to an investor. And she had a fabulous house in a fabulous location with a fabulous lot that just needed some cosmetic updating. She was going to sell it herself. And I said, no, do not do that because you're undercutting yourself to save a little bit in commission. And she ended up, after listing her house and paying out commission to both the buyer and the seller, which is still traditional in our market, she ended up making an extra $20,000. You know, there is benefit to having professionals in your corner.
Yeah, and I think she was pleasantly surprised to get that too, because I'm sure that was more than she was planning on selling to the investor she had lined up, right?
Yes. It was a little bit more complicated because we did hit some bumps in the road, of course, with inspection items and things like that. But even after that, and even after the real estate commission, she came out way ahead and is very happy she did it that way.
And that's a really good point where sometimes if you are in a competitive situation and it's really like neck and neck between all offers on the table, sometimes the winning offer comes down to reputation, right? The reputation that the buyer's agent has when you know the listing agent, or sometimes what we've had too, is when the listing agent knows that our buyers are working with Stuart, who knows pretty much everyone in St. Louis. He has a good reputation. They know he closes. They know he's on time. And sometimes that's the deciding factor when all offers are pretty similar in price and in terms. It comes down to who are you working with?
That is an excellent point. But in addition to that, another thing that we have in our arsenal of tools as realtors is we work for an extremely large brokerage that's actually the largest in our county. And about 20% of our business is in-house in what we call office exclusive listings, which mean those listings are only being shown in the short term, are marketed to agents in our office. The other thing is, to your point of having a good reputation, we network with other realtors. We don't see other realtors as our enemies or as our competition. We see them as our compadres and our friends. And if we know that you're looking for a specific house in a specific area, we have realtor friends that we can call and say, do you have anything coming? So we have done several off-market deals with one-party listings with other agent friends to help secure deals for our buyers before they even hit the market.
Yeah, and it is so rewarding being able to get creative with what we're giving our buyers, because when we have dozens of off-market options, we can probably find you something that's off-market, meaning that other buyers are not going to know about it unless they know the right people. It's pretty tight knit. It's within our brokerage, so we have options you're not going to see online because they're not released yet. And oftentimes, if we can sell it before it hits the market, the sellers are happy, our buyers are happy, and it really works out for everyone involved.
So what else is very interesting is oftentimes we will find like competition in specific segments of the market. So say the under 350 range. But what we're seeing right now is competition across the board. So we've got listings right now under contract from the 250 to the $1 million range. And many of those were in a multiple offer situation, including the $900,000 one that went over list price basically almost before it hit the open market. So it's tricky out there.
Absolutely. So it definitely is going to be a very busy, very fast-paced market this year.
And you definitely don't want to go it alone.
Yeah, absolutely. So we would love to help you with that. If you're in the market for a home, if you want to work with us, please reach out, call, text, email. That is what we're here for. And we'd love to help guide you through this 2025 market.
Sure. So if you're looking to buy or you're looking to sell or you just want to talk about it with a realtor, we are absolutely here and happy to help.
Get in touch.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Jacob.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.